Yeah, man.
Live.
Okay, guys. So welcome to a very special episode of the Football Heritage Podcast. Here with your boy Denzel, got Josh, got Ori, and got Dan. So today is gonna be a little bit different. We're gonna obviously go through the World Cup. We've got the World Cup coming up, so we're gonna be going through that, and we're gonna be talking briefly about the bombshell CR7 interview that's just dropped. So we'll get the small stuff out of the way. We'll get the CR7 interview out of the way first, seeing as the World Cup is obviously the big thing that we're going to be talking about today. But I just want to get everyone's initial thoughts and opinions and reactions after seeing the interview. So we'll go to Josh first.
Well, obviously, yeah, I didn't watch the whole thing. I watched I didn't even watch the first part. I saw like the last like 5 minutes. So I didn't even know it was being televised or anything. So you see me, I like to give people a chance in it. You know, I'm not a big fan of CR7, your goat, whatever he is, but look, if he feels he's been disrespected in it because he was talking about his family in it and you know the death of his daughter. I think it was his daughter, wasn't it? Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So like,
No, it was
as
his
much
son.
as
His son. It was his
I was
son.
his son,
Definitely his son. Yeah.
so as much as people like want to be one-sided, like the death of someone in your family can really alter, you know, how you think and feel in it. So I think that's one part that we do have to put into play and stuff like that. But I mean, the other side that it shows is, you know, how self-centered and egotistical we've always known he has been. You know, you kind of have to be to achieve that level of stardom, innit? It's like billionaires. You know, when people talk about billionaires and talk about, you know, none of them are morally there, you know, to make a billion. It's kind of like, you know, to be that good, certain elements of you have to be kind of wayward in a sense. So I don't think it really touches anything that we didn't know about him. It's part of just what's made him great that, you know, he's been so self-absorbed in a sense. But I think for United, it's best to move on. You don't need that sort of influence in the club. Ten Hag wants it. You know, no one wants it in the club. So I think it's just best to part ways, man. He's finished. He's a good. I think the thing with him is that he'll still bag you goals in it, but the quality of player has diminished and has been diminishing for years and years. So I think it's just a good time to end it and just let bygones be bygones in it.
Okay. Okay. We'll go to Ori next. He's smiling. I imagine he enjoyed it.
Um, so I've been saying something about like Ronaldo for some time now, and I'm saying like there is generally no club that like Ronaldo feels like an attachment to. The only club that he does feel an attachment to is Sporting, and that's because like it's like basically his home like club in his town as well, and that was the club that also developed him as well. A lot of Real Madrid and United fans think like he has like some huge attachment to them in terms of like sentimental, but not really. Ronaldo sees himself as like a commodity, like a star, and he thinks like these clubs are the ones that are like essentially lending him and making use of like his services and stuff like that. So I think United fans really convinced themselves that like he loves the club more than he actually does. Like one of the major reasons for him coming back was really, Ferguson, which he did mention as well too. He does, have a lot of respect for Ferguson and stuff like that. Um so yeah, overall, I feel like in terms of what he's saying about disrespect and all of that stuff, um, I get it, but at the same time, when he was scoring like goals, last season and stuff like that, he never really came out to talk about anything. He was a bit silent and stuff like that. It's now when he's now, not scoring as many goals, not getting as many starts that he feels the need to come out and do an interview and stuff like that. So that's a bit you know weird, and I just feel he's really egotistical as well. Like he can't take criticism and stuff like that. And I also feel like I think Ian Wright said something about like he might need like counseling for like about his career about to like come to an end. I feel like yeah, like it's also tough for him to kind of like see himself not be as I see a lot of people still try and like a lot of Ronaldo stands and stuff like that still try and like say he's not diminishing. He's not like, but like it's okay to admit, like, a player like he gave his all to his game. He's about 37, almost 38 now. You know, he's declining as a player. I'm not saying that he's completely useless right now. I mean, he scored 18 goals last season, so he can still, get the goals. He can still do certain things that you need him to do. But just overall play and just like the drama and what he brings, and like the expense, the wages, everything that comes with him, and like the requirements for him to always start, is just not worth it really. And that was why I told United, that's why I said about United before they purchased him. Although I get like nothing beats like the nostalgia and everything. Nothing beats like nothing beats any of that really. I know if it's like even if it's a 41-year-old Thierry Henry that wanted to come, I would probably be like cool. So I get that for United fans and stuff like that. But overall, it just wasn't really a smart signing. And yeah, I think they should just cut ties, just let him go. And yeah, I think the best place for him right now would maybe, I don't know. I've seen links with Bayern and stuff like that. But then again, as well, too, Bayern have like players on form and stuff. And like Ronaldo isn't someone that wants to sit on the bench. So it's really tough for him. Yeah. I think he should just kind of start coming to terms with retirement and everything. Like, he's no longer playing for money. Like, it's probably like the richest footballer ever. So, it's one of those things where like he just has to come to terms with it and just, call it a day. One of the greatest, if not the greatest to ever like play the game. So just call it a day, leave with your head high, just don't make like embarrassment or like a disgrace of yourself basically. But yeah, that's my take on it.
Okay, then we'll go to Dan as well.
Yeah, I agree pretty much with everything that's been said. I think his lack of self-awareness is pretty evident at this stage of his career. Like, I think Ronaldo still thinks that it's like 2013, 2014, where he's like by far and away the best one, well, one of the top two players in the world, if not the best, when he's clearly not at that level anymore. Um, the one thing I would say about the interviews is I was quite surprised at how naive he was in terms of answering them questions, and maybe that might be partially down to the language barrier, which is fair enough if it is. But I think considering he's been at the top of the game and like one of the biggest stars in the world for the best part of like 15 years now, that he's doesn't see when a journalist is trying to set him up and trying to put words in his mouth, because in my opinion that's all that interview was really. Like, I think despite what a lot of people say, I don't think he went into the interview with bad intentions in terms of slandering like a lot of Man United as a club. I think he did want to get a lot of things off his chest in terms of like, obviously, like you said, the birth of his, the death of his child, the disrespect that he feels he receives, and the like how negligent the Glazers have been. But I think Piers done very well in his kind of efforts to put words in Ronaldo's mouth and to run certain agendas. Because like you could even see, like for example, when he was talking about Gary Neville and Wayne Rooney, I don't think that would have been brought up if it wasn't for Piers. And a lot of the answers weren't. He wasn't driving the conversation. The conversation was being driven by Piers in a certain direction to try and get a reaction. So I don't know. I just feel like the interview hasn't benefited anyone apart from Piers Morgan, to be honest with you. And I feel like it was a mistake on the part of Ronaldo and his advisors, because I'd say this is very advisor driven. I'd say his advisors told him like you need to improve your PR. So I'd suggest doing an interview, and I think that's been a mistake in hindsight. So where he goes from here, I'm not sure. I think Sporting would probably be the best place for him to go, but because I think it's still a respectable-ish level, he'd probably be top scorer in Portugal, especially considering Darwin was top scorer in Portugal last season. And I think if Sporting have a good season, he could potentially be in the Champions League, which is something that I know he'd want to try and chase or maintain his records anyway. So I think that's the only option from here. I don't see Bayern or any of the top clubs wanting to take him. But if that option is not available, then I think retirement after the World Cup is a equally good option.
Okay, okay. I'm gonna give my personal thoughts on this, and I'm gonna try and look at the situation logically and try not to be too biased, but the bias might come out. I just don't understand. Like, they called it an interview. Like you guys have mentioned, it was not an interview. It was a meat riding session. It was an interview supposed to be, you ask a question as a journalist. Piers asks a question as a journalist. You don't just get the answer back and then accept the answer or agree with the answer. You try and give a little bit of pushback to the answers. I know you're sitting with Cristiano Ronaldo, and maybe because of their mates, Piers decided that he would just lick Ronaldo's ass every single time he spoke. But in certain things, it's like Piers should have been calling him up on it. Like, he said that the manager disrespected him from the get-go. In the first two interviews that Ten Hag had, he talked about how Ronaldo's going to be an integral part of the side. He spoke about the situation of Ronaldo walking off in Spurs and said that because Ronaldo said, he said that he wouldn't bring me on out of respect for my career in the City game, but then he didn't bring me on. But then he asked me to come on in the Tottenham game. And then Piers agreed with him and said, "Oh, it's the same thing." Blah blah blah. He was talking about it on TalkSport as well, but he didn't even get his facts right because of. Can I just quickly finish this one point? He didn't get his facts right because of the Man City game we were losing and the Spurs game we were winning. It's two different situations. So even Piers, he wasn't really educated in what he was saying. He was just there as Ronaldo's mate. It was kind of like a therapy session and a venting session, and he was just kissing Ronaldo's ass the whole time, which kind of got on my nerves, because if you're going to conduct an interview of this magnitude, at least do your job as a journalist to actually ask tough questions. And like Dan was saying, don't try to feed him with the answers, because there were topics that came up in that interview that shouldn't have been coming up in the interview. Like, how's Ronaldo talking about Arsenal, saying he wants Arsenal to win the league? We know that came up in conversation because of Piers is an Arsenal fan and he pushed that in the conversation. So certain things shouldn't have been discussed. And Ronaldo, like you said, he was naive in allowing Piers to like completely play him in this interview. But Josh, yeah, sorry, say what you're gonna say.
No, but I think Ronaldo's already shown us. We saw like with Gary Neville and stuff, people that spoke out against him, he blanked them. So it's clear that he wanted people who are on his side. Piers has been, you know, as you're saying, meat riding him since the get-go, saying how bad Ten Hag is and all that. So it's clear Ronaldo wanted someone that was clear on his side. Yeah, like a therapy session. So I understand your critique in terms of the way the interview was conducted, but that was how Ronaldo wanted it to be conducted, in a sense where it's almost one-sided in terms of, you know, let me glorify you as this victim, in a sense.
But it doesn't help his case, though. That's the thing, Josh. Like, it just makes it look
but that's
like...
what Ronaldo wanted, though. He wanted someone that could almost cuddle him, in a sense. He doesn't want a hard interview. It's almost just, let me tell you what I'm feeling. And then obviously Piers being a reporter, he's going to try and get more than he probably bargained for, and he did. So I don't think there's much to really be angry in the face of it, because you kind of served the purpose of where it was.
It's the journalism aspect of it, though. It's poor journalism. It's not good journalism. Because if we've seen Piers Morgan in plenty of different scenarios with plenty of different people, not even let people get a word in. But somehow today in this interview, he decided to sit quietly and kiss Ronaldo's bum every 10 seconds. It's not... We know Piers Morgan is capable of conducting an interview that has pushback, yet he decided to completely negate that. And I just feel like it was poor journalism on his part. That's just my personal opinion. In terms of Ronaldo, I feel like he just lives in his own world. I hate to say it. Obviously, Ori, I'll hold my hands up and say Ori was completely right about the... I'll hold my hands up and say Ori called the situation from the start. He said to me, Ronaldo doesn't care about your club. He only cares about himself. And he was correct in saying that, because of he's living in this fantasy world where he thinks he's still 21 years old. And he thinks that because of what he's done in the past, it merits him starting every single game. And he said in the interview, in the first part, he said, our young players these days are too lazy. They don't put in the effort. They should look at me as an example. Yet you storm off at full time because you haven't been subbed on or you've been asked to be subbed on. Is that a good example to be setting for young players? Like, he contradicted himself a lot in the interview. And it just, for me personally, it's 50-50. Like, some points he did make sense in the Glazers point, him calling out the Glazers. I wouldn't say I'm not even gonna say I respect it, because of last season it was still the same Glazers. You were banging in goals. You didn't say shit about the Glazers, to be honest. Like, you didn't say nothing about the Glazers. So I'm not gonna give him but I'm looking him over the Glazers comment. Okay, you called out the Glazers. Well done, clap for yourself. But when you were scoring and everything was going your way last season, you didn't care about the Glazers. You didn't call them out. So only now that things aren't going your way, you've seen a point in which the fans agree with you, or I can come and call out the Glazers. I feel like maybe you did that for a bit of PR as well.
That's everyone involved in Man United, though. Like, everyone involved in Man United, no one has anything to say until it benefits them to call out the Glazers. Gary Neville's the best example. He's had nothing to say about the Glazers for 10 years until the Super League, and that's when he decided to go in on the Glazers.
Yeah. I feel like everyone's just feeling...
That's all a Man United. I don't think it's just a him thing.
Yeah, but it's like, don't come out and say, oh, you were there like 13 years ago when the Glazers were there too. You know what the owners are like, and you still came back to the club. So
13 years ago, they were winning the league 3 times in a row.
Yeah, I know, but it's like, you know what the Glazers are. You know that they look at Man United as just a marketing club.
But to be fair, he did say that he expected it to change. Like, that was the one thing he said. He was like, I was disappointed that everything was
and that's
the
one thing. Yeah, that's the one thing I do respect him. But at least he was honest in coming out and saying that there's no progress at the club. But we know this as fans. Old Trafford is leaking. We know that the facilities aren't the same. He even had a little jab at the dinner ladies. Like, he was going after everybody. It was kind of like he just unloaded the clip. He just decided to shoot at everyone. But it's, like you said before, though, the lack of self-awareness is my issue with him. And he allowed Piers to play him. It's just, I still don't understand it. And another thing I wanted to quickly touch on, it's by linking to the World Cup thing. Like, obviously, Piers, maybe I'll give Piers a small bit of credit. He tried to get him on about the political controversy surrounding the World Cup. He did try to ask questions about that. And obviously, Ronaldo, like being Ronaldo, is not going to back to that. He just said, I'm focused on football, blah, 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 blah. But then you're calling out the Glazers and saying that you feel like a piece of meat. And like, he tried to do the little morality thing, like, oh, they treat me like, he said, it was a quote where he said, they treat me like a piece of meat. They treat footballers like a piece of meat, and he tried to do the little morality thing, but then when he asked him about Qatar, he's like, no, I only care about football. So he kind of contradicted himself there too. I don't know. I don't know, man.
He's always felt that way, though. He's always felt like, I think Ore said it, that he felt like he was the kind of tool that clubs use. Because back in 2009, when Man United didn't let him leave, he said he was like a servant. It was not a servant,
a slave. He called himself a slave.
Yeah.
Which is a wild thing to say.
And then another thing, sorry, Ore, yeah, you go. Sorry.
Yeah, surely, like, this is the end, right? Like, there can't be anything after this, like, in terms of United,
you can't come out and disrespect the manager.
Yeah, you can't come out and disrespect the manager and still play. I just don't know why he didn't, like, leave last summer. It couldn't just be down to, like, no club wanted him, because, like, I feel
That's
like
the thing.
there probably would have been some clubs that would have taken
He said that. He said in the interview, he said, all these people coming out with rumors saying that nobody wanted me. These club presidents, they're all liars. I had a few clubs that wanted to buy me. Why didn't you go? Like,
I don't know why he didn't go.
Exactly. He said, all the rumors saying no one wanted me wasn't true. But you stayed at the club. Like, that's the thing. Like, he contradicts himself so much in this interview. And another thing as well, obviously Arsenal fans probably love the part where he meet Radu said, Arsenal look good. I love the way they play. I like their coach. Teta did the exact same thing that Ten Hag's doing to an extent. Yeah, you disrespect Ten Hag, but you respect Teta. Like, when you're in the situation yourself, it's disrespect. But when you see another coach do it, you like the. I don't know. It's just there's so many holes in this story for me personally. Yeah. But does anyone else have anything to say? In fact, I just have one more question.
Fuck this guy. Fuck this guy, man. Move on, man. Let's go
quickly. One last question though. Where do we think his next destination will be? Because you two have said it.
Retire, bruv. Retire, bruv.
He needs to retire. You know, if Portugal.
You think so? You think it's gonna go out like this?
If Portugal win the World Cup, which is not going to happen,
he said that.
If they win the World Cup, he's going to retire. Yeah, I still feel like if they come close, he should just retire. and then like bring out some Instagram message and sentimental, my last World Cup, we tried our best and everything, but football doesn't always give you what you want, blah blah blah. Just something, just come out with something heartfelt and call it a day. Yeah, like, but he doesn't. Yeah, he definitely would want. Like he would want to go out with a trophy, and he wanted to go out with a bang. That's the thing about him. Like, he just feels like I would get that too. Like everything you've given to your career, for it to just end like like that, like leaving United halfway through the season, and after Portugal failed to win the World Cup, it'll be a bit like. So he'll probably still want to play, probably still try, but it should be his last World Cup. I would think so.
He admitted himself. He alluded to it. Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. He's what 30. Then by the next World Cup, he'll be like 40, almost 42.
37.
Yeah, there's no way he plays.
Yeah,
41.
There's no way he'll be playing my next World Cup. Yeah, so yeah, this will be like his last chance and everything. Maybe Euros.
Yeah, maybe you can get Euro.
Maybe you can go Euros. Call it a day. Maybe.
He's not gonna win. He's not gonna go out like this.
And
if he does, then he'll be like Hal Robson-Kanu playing for the country with no club, just bagging at the Euros.
Just vibing. I mean, he would have gone to this place, but obviously, for certain reasons, he can't. MLS. But
hey, that's wild.
And he's definitely not going to go to China. He doesn't need the money. So yeah, she just call it a day, really. Just call it a day. Yeah,
probably want to Arabia.
He probably wants to.
He rejected the Arabia.
He probably wants to stay in the. He probably wants to stay in the UK. I think his family like being in the UK. I think
he can go Chelsea or Arsenal. He loves them so much.
I know he wants to go.
I don't think anyone wants the mess of CR7 right now because it's a
mess.
You know what?
For the Americans.
You know what? Just to spite United fans. Just because I'm a born hater and I have hatred in my soul. Just for that alone, no logical, no tactical reason. Even upon all the drama and all the pain is going to cost us, I would sign him purely on the fact that
6-month contracts to bring number 14
contracts, come in,
self-sabotage,
drag in a couple goals, win us the league. I would do anything to see that happen.
Wait, okay, Ori,
Ronaldo lifted the title in Arsenal. Oh my god!
You think if you signed CR7, you'd win the league? I'm telling you, come there, disrupt your whole dressing room, cause issues.
No.
He's a Bamian 2.0, bro.
If he knows the deal. The thing is, I know Ronaldo is also spiteful as well. So like, I know he wouldn't mind making some appearances, coming in here and there.
Yeah.
This is a 6
month. Out of pettiness.
That pettiness.
No, so like, he's not gonna ride the bench on Arsenal at Arsenal. He's not gonna ride the bench at Arsenal.
He wouldn't completely.
I think he'd be more happy to ride the bench at Arsenal and win the Premier League. Just to spite Man United.
He could go City and ride the bench.
Yeah, I don't think it hits the same.
No, he would.
Because Man City win the league. Man City win the league every year. Arsenal haven't won the league in 20 years. Do you know how shameless this guy will be?
He's going to try and frame it like, oh, I won the league with Arsenal, who haven't like.
That's what he'll be shameless with it.
And he'll be like, he'll be the headline. He'll be the headline of our title win and stuff like that. So like that's what
we've even got a comment saying that Arsenal have a better chance of winning the league without CR7. There you go. And that's facts.
I know we do, but like I can't lie to you. I'm willing to risk it just for the pettiness. Like it's just incredible. Like what the whole media.
It's a huge risk because if he's gonna come and disrupt your whole thing, he's gonna throw his toys out the pram. He's gonna cause so much. Look what he's done at United.
Been at United for a year plus.
Look what he's done at United. And you want that at your club? Take him, please. Because if he'll act as a double agent. I'm telling you, he's going into Arsenal.
On the real. Like I said, I obviously don't want Ronaldo, like definitely. But yeah, just because I'm a born hater, I'm so sorry. That is generally the only reason I'll take him. If he can work something out where like he doesn't have to start all the games and stuff like that, cool.
He's not accepting that.
If he needs to start every single game, then definitely not. Because we wouldn't win the league. Ronaldo starting every single game. In fact, would like it'd make us worse. Like would have a worse chance of even like pushing for that.
Yeah, we're worse with him in the squad. So imagine what it'd be like with you guys. But anyway, we've talked enough about CR7.
Yeah. Let's move on.
Let's get to the actual really important thing on everyone's minds. He's tried to take the limelight away, but we've got a Winter World Cup, guys, that we have to discuss. Obviously, it's different to what it would normally be like. Obviously, being in September, not September, December, November, December. But regardless, the World Cup is a special time for everybody. So firstly, I'm gonna get straight into it. We're gonna go through predictions. Who do we think is winning the World Cup? I'm gonna go to Dan first.
I like Brazil, man. I like Brazil. I think they've got all the facilities to win it. I think goalkeepers, they've got two of the best in the world, if not the best in the world. Defenders, I think between the centre back, especially with international tournaments, like your defenders, they don't need to be rapid. Like we saw Italy in the Euros, they fielded like Chiellini and Bonucci, and they were super solid. So I think Marquinhos, Thiago Silva, they can run that and they'll be fine. Midfield, Casemiro, Paqueta plays all the time, and he's pretty good for Brazil. And it'll usually have to be Fred or whoever else, maybe Fabinho. And then up front, they've just got a plethora of talent, man. Um, I'm kind of hope they want to win it. I kind of hope they do win it as well, because I think for Neymar as well, it'll do wonders for his legacy. So, yeah, man, I got Brazil winning the World Cup.
Okay, Josh, who you got?
No, yeah, I'm with Brazil in it, but I'm not really super convinced by anybody because I still think Brazil is still weakness. I don't think their fullbacks are great. To be honest, yeah, they attack because Vinny, obviously aside from Neymar as usual, Vinny and Rodrigo have really stepped up, and obviously Jesus is a quality player as well. Obviously midfield would be. I hope is Guimaraes and Casemiro, but still I don't know. They could be shaky. I could see Brazil being shaky. I'm not 100% convinced by them. Argentina as well. I think Argentina are like a dogged team, innit? They'll try. They'll fight together. But yeah, like because even in the Copa, I think Brazil were better than Argentina, but they were just hacking Neymar. And then obviously from Europe, who they got? Germany, France, you could say England and Spain. I think it's an open house, but I'll put my money on Brazil.
Okay. Already, who you got winning the World Cup?
Brazil. The thing is, one thing about Brazil is that like they never live up to their expectations. So this World Cup is is having that bitter taste feeling like the 2014 one and stuff like that. So a lot of people are expecting Brazil to win this one. So I don't really think they live up to the pressure. But then again, I always just say it boils down to Neymar. Like I always say, he's basically the key to Brazil either winning or not winning the World Cup, essentially. If he has a good tournament all the way through and he doesn't get injured, then Brazil would have a good chance there. Even the semis, finals, like I always say, once they get to the final, it's like an open game from there on. It doesn't really like finals are very, very open in terms of quality. So yeah, I think Brazil would definitely go through this round of 16 quarters. Semis, finals, that's when they really need to get the work done and stuff like that. 2014, they made it to the semis before like they got thrashed by Germany. Last World Cup they made it to the quarters. And then Belgium dropped like a very good performance and stuff like that. So they're always in and around there. It's just about finally just going all the way. And I think they do have the quality. But like Josh said, yeah, fullbacks they're a bit short on that. Centre backs are good. Midfield quality is cool. Attack is really good as well too. So yeah, it's just about connecting the pieces for them. But I would say Brazil are favorites from almost everybody really in this World Cup.
Is Denzel?
I think he's frozen.
Denzel.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, cool. For me, I would say obviously Brazil, definitely. I don't think you guys have explained it pretty much. Yeah. So next, I want to go on to. We'll talk about the Free Alliance for a little bit. How far do you think England are going in this tournament? I'm gonna start with Josh.
I've been saying quarters. I don't know why, but I don't know, man. I don't think this World Cup there isn't a standout team. I know everybody's saying Brazil, but I still don't think. Even though I like Brazil, I don't think they're that good in my eyes. But you see, with internationals, no one truly knows. It's only when you start playing, innit? Because I remember Euros were saying Turkey were gonna do bits. Shout out Erhan, pussy, oh bro, saying they were gonna get to like quarters or semis, and the man fluffed it. So I feel like with internationals, you can't be so certain with anything because obviously the games are so spread out. It's like it's kind of just who has the best cohesion. So if you look at it in that sense, England do have a good chance because it's still pretty much the same squad from the last two tournaments, really. Only some minor additions, but I don't know, man. I just don't see the guy. I know Kane is meant to be the guy. I just don't see it, man. I don't see the guy like that. I don't see it, man. But quarters or I say quarters.
Okay, cool. Ori, where do you think England finish?
Group
Get
stage,
knocked out.
group stage exit.
What?
Okay, no group stage exit. I don't know with England. England is always very tricky. The thing is, like, as much as people like criticize this guy, Southgate and stuff like that. But like before he came and everything, England were crashing out, very early in tournaments. They got knocked out by was it Iceland in the Euros and stuff like that. And like I feel like he's really brought a lot of organization to England. They've reached, World Cup semis, they've gone to the Euros final, stuff like that. I know it's not really like I'm not trying to like reward, failure and stuff like that. But I do still think like I feel like the English media is very hard. On Southgate. I'm not the craziest fan of him. I don't really think he's that good, but I still do think like the English media is incredibly hard on him. Like, let the coach do what he wants to do. Every time there's a selection, every time there's a decision, everybody's always criticizing every minute detail of what he does. I remember last Euros, everyone was calling for him not to start Sterling. Sterling went on to have the best tournament and stuff like that. People were crying to bring on Grealish for some reason. Grealish, he didn't really do anything crazy and stuff like that. So let the manager do what he wants to do and stuff like that. And I feel like one of the reasons why England hasn't been successful in a long time is just because of the pressure they put on the players and the coaching team as well. Realistically, I think round of 16 quarters is where they'll come through. It really just depends on like who they meet. A lot of teams would outplay England tactically, in my opinion. But really, I guess it just boils down to who they meet and stuff like that. Round of 16 quarters is around where I'll say I don't really think they go further than that. And I think probably Southgate would go, after this tournament most likely. But yeah, I'll say round of 16 quarters is kind of where I'm targeting them to go out in.
Cool. What about you then?
Like I said, it's really difficult with England because, like, number one, England is like a serial underachiever when there's expectations. And this going into this tournament, because of how well the previous two tournaments went, I think there is a lot of expectations. And there's a sort of kind of thought that it's like now or never, really, especially because a lot of the players are getting older. Like Kane's not getting any younger. The defenders, especially, are not getting any younger. So I think this tournament could go very, very badly, especially considering who we've got in the group. Because on paper, it seems to be an easy group, but you know that America, especially, are very, very patriotic, and they're going to passion merchant their way through the game. And Wales as well. Wales are going to try their hardest to beat England. And Wales in all tournaments really seem to always overachieve. So I think if England find trouble in the group and don't finish top, then they'll go crashing out immediately the next game because they'll play someone good. And that's one thing I think England have benefited from in the last two tournaments, that England got two very, very lucky runs through to the semi-final and to the final. I think in the World Cup, the last World Cup, England didn't play anyone really. good until Croatia, and then in the Euros, England played Germany, but apart from Germany, it was a very, very weak route to the final. I think it was like Denmark in the semi-final and Ukraine in the quarterfinal. So I don't know. It really depends. But that being said, like Josh was saying earlier, there's no clear-cut favorite. Like I wouldn't say there's any country that is like a super dominant force that everyone is rooting for and behind. Because even France, like France, have a lot of injuries. So I don't know if I think if there is a time for England to win the World Cup, it has to be now with the talent available, the weakness of the quote unquote big powers, and the group given. I think England have to win it now, but I don't think they will. I think, like I was saying earlier, I think they draw to America and draw to Wales and come second in the group and lose to someone like Belgium or Netherlands or something in the round of 16.
Yeah, I was even gonna say that. I think that Wolves are gonna top the group. If I'm being honest, I don't, I don't know. There's just something in my
They're
mind saying that
overachievers,
England.
man. They're serial
Yeah,
overachievers.
yeah. I feel like Wolves will top the group. I'm gonna say the. I think quarterfinals. I think quarterfinals get knocked out. Um, if we do top the group, it'll probably be Senegal. I feel like England can beat Senegal. Um, and then probably meet France in the quarters. I'm not sure against France. I don't know. I thought they have too much firepower for us. It just depends how he sets up the team. One thing about
Mane isn't making the World Cup, so
yeah, I know, yeah,
Senegal would be
that's what I'm
quite
saying.
weak. Yeah.
Yeah, I think one thing about Southgate, he's taken quite a few. How many? Like 4 attacking midfielders, right, or something like that. He's taken.
Who you call it?
Madison, Mount,
He's taken Madison, Mount, Foden, and then there's
Grealish.
someone else. Yeah, he's probably gonna play a 5 at the back.
I think he plays 5
Why?
at the back when we play better teams, well, quote unquote, better teams than us.
I feel like I have a feeling he's gonna play a 5 at the back against Iran or something like. I don't think
Nah,
he's
not
like,
Iran.
bro.
If he
Probably
plays the
America.
5 at the back against Iran, that's a disgrace.
Yeah.
Bro, the way this guy's moving, you never know. I don't know, maybe not Iran, but I know against USA and Wales, we're probably playing 5 at the back.
Against Wales, he probably will play 5 at the back. In USC, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think Wales, he probably would play 5 at the back against Wales. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think USA make it out of the group. I think it'll be Wales and England. But I think Wales will top the group, to be honest. But yeah, we'll spoke about England enough. Move on to the dark horses of the competition. Now, I feel like we can name multiple dark horses. So I'm not gonna limit everyone just to one dark horse. But I'll go to Dan first. Your dark horses for the World Cup.
Yeah, so with dark horses, there's quite a few, like you're saying. So my number one dark horse is Denmark. I think Denmark is just if you look at their team's actually pretty good, and they've been very like there's a lot of cohesion, it seems, in that national team. So I think they'll do quite well. And then the other one that I was going to mention, I think America. I think they have a better team than people realize. And you know how patriotic them guys are, man. They'll be singing the national anthem, belting it out at the beginning of the games. They won't dare lose in front of their great nation. So I think they'll do better than people think.
Okay, Oreo, what about you? Who are your dark horses?
I think I said it on the last. I think I'll probably go for Serbia. Although like they have a really tough group with Brazil, Switzerland, and Cameroon. But whether or not they make it out to the group, I feel like they definitely will give like teams in there a really tough time. They could probably come out that group, and if they do, they can try and push towards it. But I think like with Serbia, they do, like they have a lot of players who are very committed and stuff like that. And up there, they have like, a lot of talent. Players like Mitrovic is really, really good for his country. Someone like Tadic as well too. So I feel like they do have like certain players up front in there that are really, really good quality that can trouble a lot of teams. So I think they'll probably be more of a surprise than people expect. Like Dan said, Denmark to also look really good as well. Canada, I'm not really sure where I stand on them, but they have really done like incredibly well in terms of like qualifiers and everything they've faced. Although you could argue that like the quality of teams they faced before in qualifiers weren't that high, but I think they probably, would cause a bit of problem in their group as well. Again, they have a tough group, so it's really hard to say. But yeah, I'll say those are really kind of like the dark horses for the competition.
Okay, Josh, what about you?
You know what? I haven't really been looking at any teams in it, so I don't really have a dark horse, but I just keep it standard. Any African team in it, I just want to see Africa do well. So any of the African team, Morocco, Cameroon, any of them, then I go after they do
Nah,
well.
keep on,
I'll be repping.
keep on mentioning them. Keep going.
Oh yeah, you guys, innit? What's it? Who you got in your group against? South Korea,
We
Portugal,
got
innit?
South Korea,
Portugal
Portugal,
and Uruguay.
and Uruguay. Yeah,
That's a tough group.
yeah. I was
Uruguay are not that good
I don't
anymore.
know. I disagree, man. I disagree. I
Um,
think Uruguay might be decent.
They could be a dark horse, to be honest.
You need to get that lick back from Suarez.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. My
but
dark
they
horse.
probably will still lead the group. I think it should be
Yeah.
Portugal or Uruguay, ideally on
Hopefully
paper.
not. Hopefully not.
But Ghana
Portugal
won
could
yesterday, I
surprise.
think. Yesterday or the day before against Switzerland.
Yeah, we beat them. I think it's 2-0.
Decent.
But yeah, my dark horse is, I'll say, yeah, I'm just being patriotic when I say Ghana. But deep down, though, I believe that if we played at you brothers, no chance. I had to get my weekly at you slander in there. I'll be slandering them a lot during this World Cup because I know they're gonna drop stinkers for the Black Stars. But if we don't play the IU brothers, then we should be alright. Wales, one of my dark horses. They're not really. I think they're one of the favorites. I'm not gonna say they're a dark horse, but I feel like Holland. Watch out for Holland as well. Netherlands have a decent squad, so I'd say them for dark horses as well. Okay, next up we're gonna be talking about the top goal scorers. Now I feel like with this one we can just have an open discussion. Just throw some names in the hat. I feel like we all kind of know who the favorites are.
Yeah, we know like the one guy that's really going to be up there, and that's definitely Alvaro Morata.
Oh boy, that was left field. I can't lie, I wasn't expecting that. So Ori, you're going with Morata, yeah? Stocks, Morata. Okay, he's sticking with the Euro stocks.
I'm carrying over my stocks.
There's been a market crash, by the way, so I don't know if you know that.
Carrying over my stocks. That's the last Euros. Highest goal scorer was Ronaldo with 5 goals.
No, it was Kane. It was Kane. Oh, sorry, I'm
yeah.
World Cup.
Last Euros was Ronaldo with 5 goals. Morata scored 3. I don't think a lot of people expected him to. And out of his own stupidity, like he missed like a lot of chances, missed a pen, I feel like he easily could have been top scorer if like football is not a game of ifs and stuff like that. But I feel like Spain do create like a high load of chances, and that's just because of the type of football like they play and like Enrique plays and stuff like that. So Morata would get a lot of chances, like, but it's always all just down to his finishing and stuff like that. He's still obviously a dark horse, like Golden Boot guy. So I wouldn't put money on it, but it's someone I'll be interested in seeing winning the Golden Boot. Logically and on paper, I think like the people like the Canes. I don't know. I don't know. Canes. I don't know what people are saying for Lukaku this tournament, but
I don't know about that either.
For Belgium,
it's tricky.
He does well for Belgium, though. To be fair, but
he does score for Belgium. That's the thing. Mbappe should be up there. Should be around there in there somewhere. Then I don't know. It's very tricky because players like it just depends on like who like someone like Messi now. It really just depends on like how well he does in.
Yeah, it depends how far the team goes.
Like Josh is always saying about like them, like they don't really score or they don't score in what's it called again, knockouts.
They haven't scored a single goal in the World Cup knockout.
In World Cup knockout. So that's that's quite shocking and stuff like that. So it's like it's probably an open Golden Boot race really. I think it just depends on like who. Group stage, like probably the most likely person who has like the easiest group would most likely be like the top scorer and stuff like that, which is why I said Kane, because he should be getting goals against Iran and USA and stuff like that.
That makes sense, I guess. My pick.
Didn't Kane like score like 6 goals in the group stage and then didn't score anything in the knockout last time?
Yeah, he bagged like
no.
He scored, which is half of his goals.
He scored a lot of penalties.
I think he scored like 5 in the group stage. I think he scored 1 in the knockout. I think that was against Colombia or something.
Yeah, my personal
After Colombia, who did England play in the
for
quarter?
the World Cup, last World Cup.
Played
Yeah.
Sweden. They beat them 2-0.
Colombia, Sweden, and then
Croatia.
Croatia, yeah. I think
crashed out.
he scored one against against then he scored 5 in the group stage. That's insane. That's insane because people have won golden boots in World Cup based of just 5 goals. So that's just like group stage alone, really. And like he was scoring goals against Panama and on paper that was actually a very embarrassing golden boots, really. But they all count. They all count.
Exactly. He's definitely clutching that. We know he loves his individual awards sometimes more than trophies for clubs. But yeah, me personally, I think Messi is. I'll say Messi. I've got 2 players. I'll say Messi and one that I don't think people are expecting to win the Golden Boot, but I just have a feeling he's gonna have a good World Cup. I'm saying Vinicius Junior.
I was gonna
I feel like,
mention him.
yeah, I feel like Vinny
he's the young player. I was gonna say.
Yeah.
I think Lukaku, man. I think their group's too easy. Like you got Canada and Morocco. He can had 2 hat tricks there, easy.
Yeah.
With KDB behind him.
I'm not the craziest fan of Gakpo, but I think he might pull a couple strings as well too.
Him and Depay if Netherlands go far.
Well, yeah, Depay's a good shout. Depay's a good shout.
Yeah.
He always bags for Holland.
Yeah,
Neymar is more of a creator and stuff like that.
That's what I was gonna get onto. Even that's a very good segue.
No, but you are a factor in who takes the pens as well. Neymar takes pens.
Neymar takes the pens, yeah.
And Brazil are dribblers.
In terms of goals and assists, ideally Neymar should be the most balanced in the World Cup. Like he should get.
That's what I'm saying.
He should like him and Messi kind of be. Him and Messi should kind of be the most balanced in terms of because they both serve as like creators and scorers as well. And they like both do it at like the highest level. So yeah.
Yeah, that even segues nicely to my next one, which I was gonna say most assists. I had 2 players personally. I had KDB and Neymar. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I had KDB and Messi.
I'd have Neymar and Messi. Yeah. I think like Argentina and Brazil, I feel like they do have like a lot of players who can chip in terms of I see Belgium kind of limited in terms of attacking quality. So I feel like KDB would create a lot of chances, but like just having someone always at the end of it may be a bit tough for Belgium. But yeah.
What about you, Josh?
Yeah, no, the 3 players mentioned. Yeah, I think that's appropriate. Maybe give a quick shout to someone like a Fernandez or an Ericsson.
Bruno cooked today.
Bruno guy out of here, man. Please.
Bruno Felix combination.
Nigeria ship.
Did they beat Nigeria?
Yeah, 4-0.
4-0.
I watch Bruno. Bruno's gonna have a decent. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm telling you, Nigeria we're dusted. Like we need a rebuild, like everything.
We need a rebuild. Number 1 all over. This guy wasn't letting in nothing.
We need to get new owners in.
Man said Dangote in.
Man might need to do an ancestry test or something to see if I'm related to any other team, bro. I'm not supposed to. What is this?
Oh man, unlucky for you guys. But next up, we're gonna talk about the youngsters in the tournament.
Musiala, that's it. That's what I'm saying. Musiala.
Is that your pick?
Yeah, Musiala.
Big baller.
Or Rodrigo. Rodrigo's a big baller as well. Rodrigo.
Vinicius, man. Vinicius. I think he'll be the main source of goals for Brazil.
Dan, I agree.
Because I think Brazil will win the World Cup and he'll be the main source, in my opinion. I think that's.
I was gonna go with Vinicius.
You see, with these young guys though, first World Cup, don't be surprised if they flop. First World Cup.
Don't be surprised if Martinelli shows you he's the best left wing in the world.
Martinelli's not getting a sniff on the pitch.
Hey, they said the same about Saka in the Euros. He's only getting garbage.
But
there was a certain guy called Killian who had his first one at 18. Went up to win the tournament. I feel like Mbappe is actually kind of underrated, in my opinion.
Yeah,
especially compared to Haaland now. Haaland's
very recently, especially after he declined, after he like the whole Madrid thing. everyone has just been like incredibly harsh on him and stuff like that. But that's
He's
why
got a point to prove.
I kind of hope he has another. Like imagine he has a crazy tournament and France like wins the whole thing again. That would be insane.
Yeah,
but I don't
two consecutive World Cups would be nuts.
Yeah, I don't think France are favorites really, but you never know. I mean, they do have like quality players, so just depends on how they put it together.
Okay, so next up we're gonna talk the player of the tournament. I'm gonna go first. I've hated on them, but let's be logical here. Let's just be frank.
Join the bandwagon.
Ori said they don't want me there, but I'm just gonna be honest. It's gonna be Neymar. I'll be real. This is just it's written in the stars for this guy to have. Maybe Denzel tax. Maybe the Denzel curse is coming.
Yeah, Denzel, don't hop on it. Don't hop on
trivia. But nah, honestly,
when it comes to Neymar, there's always a jinx about him. Like I don't know. Ideally, it should be him. I think he has everything to prove this tournament. It's not the end though. Like Neymar is 30.
Yeah,
I mean, you're gonna have one in after this, most likely. But
is he gonna do it though? Because I remember
is he going to do it? Yeah. I know Neymar really struggles. Yeah, he struggles with his mental health and stuff like that. So I don't know. If him not winning this one would be like if they get to the final as well. Like I think that would just break him really. But yeah, ideally he should be the player of the tournament. Really, like I feel like he has almost everything to give. Really. And Brazil are good as well. So it's just kind of like, playing in between the lines, getting the goals, he has the penalties as well too. He would also, he's also like 2 goals away from like Pele's all-time record as well too. I know Josh is not a fan of like contradicting, but I mean it's still something that would like, get him, super pumped up and stuff like that, to be like the highest goal scorer for your country. So yeah, I see him really dominating and like taking all the headlines.
Yeah, Josh, who do you think? Because I think we agree. We're all in agreement that it's probably Neymar. Josh, who do you see as the player of the tournament?
Is it official one or streets one?
You can do both if you want.
That's a good question.
Because Messi won it in 2014, but he wasn't the best. Who won it in 2010?
2010?
Might have been Iniesta.
Probably. I don't know. Maybe David Villa, it might have been,
No, it wasn't David Villa. I can't remember. It might have been Snyder.
Yeah, I think I remember. Wait, let's see.
It's someone from Spain or Netherlands.
Forlan, was it Forlan?
Well, it might have been Forlan was crazy.
Forlan won the golden.
Forlan won it.
I think so. He definitely won Golden Boot, but I think he might have been player of the tournament as well.
Yeah, Forlan won it.
His goal comp is ridiculous, by the way. If you have time, just watch the 2010 goals. Crazy.
Oh no, yeah, Forlan was. So like, have you guys heard like the story of him and like the Jubilani? That like when it came out,
the Jubilani ball.
Wow. Yeah, he had Adidas like send the ball like 3 months early to him before like the World Cup started, and like he was just training with the ball because there was a defect with how like the ball moved and stuff.
Yeah,
like
exactly. Yeah,
kind of mastered it, and that's just crazy, really. That's some hindsight that's just like really amazing. But yeah, he really mastered how to like the ball. Yeah, he was something else in that tournament, really.
Okay, so Josh, have you got
my heart saying?
I'm gonna press you for an answer, Josh. Don't think about
it. I
want
to say Musiala, but that's too much pressure.
Bro, you love that guy so much.
Too much pressure.
You think he's gonna be the player of the?
He's a ball.
You think he's gonna be the player of the tournament, though?
It depends because
Germany too much pressure
as well. So if he's like the bit of kind of silk in that efficiency, I can see it.
Nah, they got no forwards though. That's the thing. So they're not gonna do
it. Team up there.
Yeah, Timo's injured, isn't it?
Oh, is it?
He's injured.
Yeah, he's injured.
So,
let's
go to Neymar, innit?
I don't know who
Who was the best player in the 2014 one? I know Messi won it, but who was really
Messi won it? But
Neuer was
it James?
Neuer was mad. Neuer went crazy.
Who went crazy?
Bro for Argentina, Mascherano was more consistent.
I feel like it was probably James, if I'm being wrong. James pulled out.
I think James was probably my best player.
He earned himself a move to Madrid off just a World Cup, so probably James.
James got the streets for that World Cup.
Definitely. Yeah.
That was more just coming up tour for Hammers.
Yeah.
It was the best. Like Neuer was insane that tournament.
They never give it to goalkeepers though.
Yeah.
So like realistically, you can't kind of.
Oh yeah,
put
he
your
was
eggs in the
crazy that tournament. He was.
It was any of the German players, man. Like they were all.
Mesut Ozil was cold. I remember.
Yeah. Schweinsteiger, Cruz, they were all quality, man. Even I know Robin did his thing as well. Robin
had a good World Cup. Even 2014, I remember the Flying Dutchman got the RVP. Even he had a decent tournament, but yeah. Next up, I'm gonna say shock of the tournament. Now this can be, I'm gonna make it broad. It can be either a team that you don't expect to do as well as they do, or a team where you do expect them to do well, but they fall short. Because I was watching a video about the World Cup curse, like how the last 4 World Cups, is it? The winners have been knocked out in the group stages. So I want to talk about a shock. In fact, let's go for teams and then we'll do an individual one afterwards. But it can either be a positive shock or a negative shock. I'm gonna go for Josh first. Or whenever something comes to mind, you can say it. For me, for my shock, I said Wales. I expect them. I just think they're gonna have a good tournament.
Who? Wales.
Wales. I just have a feeling Wales are gonna have a good tournament, man. I don't know where it is.
Did Portugal play with Leao and Felix
today?
They played with Felix today. I don't know about Leao. But...
No, they played Andre Silva and João Felix.
Yeah, they played Silva and Felix.
Because they're not gonna do well. But
yeah, that would be my shock. I think they might go out in the group stages.
Really, you think Ghana sneak through?
Hopefully, bro.
Ghana. What are you saying? Ghana, Uruguay.
Hopefully.
I won't be sad. Nah, Portugal better. I don't want to see Uruguay.
Can't see that happening.
But I think Portugal, their coach is common knowledge that this guy's a bozo, and I think they've got a very disjointed team. Like their defense is very like imbalanced. Their midfield as well is very imbalanced because like the midfield he picks, it doesn't usually make sense. And I think Ronaldo is a shadow of himself, and I don't know if he'll play Leao. So. Yeah, I think they could potentially, but they haven't been great in qualifying either. So I think they could potentially crash out in the group stages.
They can get out of the group, but I just don't see maybe like round of 16.
Do you know what is in the World Cup? It's just like it's one-off games, isn't it? So these countries that you don't expect, they can passion merchant their way through. Like especially if they've got decent players. Like
once you're out of the group stage, like it's anyone's game really. That's
the beautiful thing about it.
Yeah, if you can just put a string of things together. If you can even score, concede, park the bus, anything, it's basically 90 minutes on the line for your country. Like, like a lot of players will give anything really. So, anything after the group stage is really just open, really. But group stage, you would need some sort of consistency to, come out of the tournament, really. You need to win at least like one game usually to come out of the group stage, really. So, yeah. My own shock would be, like I said, carrying over from Euros. I think Spain have a good tournament again.
That's a shock?
I don't know if that's a shock, really.
I don't think they're the favourites, to be fair.
I feel like people...
Yeah, but they're not expected... It's not expected for them to do bad or anything. Like, we expect Spain to have a decent tournament.
That's fair.
I think do you think Spain's
probably more of a shock. Like, I think, like, Morata has a good tournament again. I know people don't really like him and stuff like that, but... obviously, I said my explanation earlier. Like Spain creates a lot of chances, so even if he's missing loads of chances, he's definitely going to score here and there. So yeah, I think I see Spain probably getting to quarters of semis. I think getting quarters of semis. I think Spain getting to semis would probably be a surprise for most people. So I think I'm going to semis. But then again, like I said, World Cup, anything could happen. Like, Spain could get knocked out of the group and stuff like that. But yeah, I have high hopes for Spain. I like Enrique a lot. So yeah.
Did you see the thing that's doing is open up a Twitch account? I respect that. I rate that.
Straight away.
I don't speak Spanish, so I'm not gonna have a clue what he's saying, but
He's a
I'm
proper
interested
streamer
in
as
that.
well. He put like a
Yeah.
poll in the chat.
Yeah, no, he's way too funny, man. He's way too funny.
I like that. I respect that, man. What about you, Dan? Who's your?
Portugal, I don't think Portugal will do well, and I think America will do better than people think. I think their team's not bad. Like if you look at their team, a lot of them play first team football in the Bundesliga. There's quite a few Premier League players there, like Aronson, I think plays with them. Tyler Adams, obviously Pulisic, who this guy, he's like, if you watch what's it called, Seven Deadly Sins, he's like Escanor. He's just a normal guy, and then when it comes to America, he turns into some superhuman. So I think
Captain America, that's what they call him there.
I think America will do better than people think. If they, especially if they top the group, if England like draw to them and they top the group, I can see them beating Senegal and going to the quarterfinals, and then from there it is what it is.
Fair enough. Now, next, I'm gonna go for shock players. This can either be a player that's expected to do well in the tournament and doesn't have a good tournament, or a player that people don't really have high expectations for but does well anyway. I'm gonna go first. I've openly slandered this guy, but I think he'll have a decent tournament.
I think we have the same one.
What, Darwin Núñez?
Oh no! I was gonna say Harry Maguire.
Nah, I'm saying Darwin Núñez has a decent tournament. I think he's gonna shock people.
From Chaos Ball.
Because that's what I was gonna say, Dan. Chaos Ball. I feel like he'll just. The World Cup is perfect for Chaos Ball. So like everything is aligned for Darwin Núñez to have a good World Cup. I never thought I'd say that, but I just feel like he's gonna bag a decent amount of goals. So yeah, that's my shock of the tournament. I thought Darwin Núñez will have a good tournament. But yeah, what's everyone else thinking?
I think Maguire, bro. I think Maguire stocks are at the bottom, and then when you factor in international football, there's nowhere near as much defensive responsibility, and like you don't need to be quick at all. Like we saw from the Italy defenders in the Euros, like Maguire in the past 2-3 tournaments, I think he'll be probably, I don't want to say England's best defender, but I think he'll be a lot better than people think.
Yeah, that's fair. Ori.
I don't think Kevin De Bruyne has that good of a tournament. I don't know. KDB, when it comes to international, he's never really been that guy in my opinion. Like
it's questionable.
He has some good runs and stuff like that, but when the going gets tough, when it's time for someone to step up, like I never really see him do that. Even sometimes for Man City as well too, like in terms of like when they met Chelsea, in the finals, like that was their time and everything. KDB nowhere to be found. When Belgium have got into like later stages of tournament against Italy, he was okay, but didn't really just do anything too special. So yeah, I don't think he really has that good of a tournament as probably people expect, or as like the level of like the quality he has really. So I think that would probably be a shock for most people. And then yeah, I actually agree with Denzel Núñez as well too. I think he might also be like a bit of like a shock, or like but Núñez scores goals here and there, so it's not really like a crazy shock for him to score goals and stuff like that. But I think just with like the whole general perspective on him at the moment, so yeah, it probably would be a shock that he has a really good tournament. Yeah, that's what I'm saying in terms of shock players, really.
Okay, Josh, who's your shock player of the World Cup?
If Netherlands do well, Depay and De Jong will be crucial to that. So, because I think they're two very good footballers, and I think the way they play suits the Dutch style, obviously because they're Dutch. So if the Netherlands do well, I can see those two being a big factor in that, and because no one looks at them quite highly right now, so I'll look at those two to be the guy. And maybe what's his name, Jordan Ayew as well. Steps up for Super Eagles.
Yeah, nah, there's no way on earth. That would be a shock to me if he had a good tournament. A huge shock, pleasant surprise. But we all know that guy can't play ball. He's,
You need to ban that guy from the World Cup. Just
yeah,
set him up with some alcohol or something and report him to the authorities.
bro. I'd rather take Ashmajian at 40-something years old over Jordan Ayew, bro. I don't know. It's because of their dad's rep or he's supplying the GFA with some peas, but that guy should be nowhere near the Ghana squad. But yeah, it is what it is. Does anyone have anything else they want to add? Because we've been going for an hour now. So, any final points on the World Cup?
Are you man excited for it?
Yeah.
I am, but I'm not. I don't know. It doesn't feel like the World Cup starting on on Sunday. It doesn't feel like that to me. I don't know. Maybe when it starts and like the whole camaraderie kicks in, but I don't know. It's just always that summer feeling. It's the summer holidays. You're off. Everyone's off school or work or whatever. Like the sun's out. Geezers out with the top out, top off. Got their bulldog tattoo. They're British.
Beer belly
Brexit
on
tattoo
show.
on their shoulder. The England flags all over in the summer. Like it's not the same vibe. Like it's gonna be people wearing puffy jackets in the pub. Like I don't know. It's football regardless though, so I'm always gonna be excited. I feel like the quality of football will increase as well because it's in the middle of the season. So I am excited for it, to be honest. It's a change, but yeah. In fact, now that I think about it, yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Because usually at this time you see the England flag on some people's houses, bro. I ain't seen none. I ain't seen none of that.
Yeah, I ain't seen none of that.
Thank God. Thank God.
But like even you're talking about the expectation. Like I haven't really heard like mad expectation from the press on the England team. Like usually you'll be hearing a lot more.
That's the sole reason they're getting onto Southgate, because they say that this is the most talented crop of players and he's not
though.
capable.
That's the thing.
Like that's why. Like that's why they're getting onto him, because the expectation.
England have hyped up their players to a higher level than what they're doing right now. I remember 2010 people were saying this side should win the World Cup.
In hindsight,
I haven't heard
2010 squad stunk. How can you have Matthew Upson and Rob Green starting? Oh my word!
No, it was the World Cup before that, I think. The Golden
Generation.
When we had Rooney, Scholes, Gerrard, Lampard,
but Brazil had
we had
Dino.
2 world-class centre-backs. When's the last time England had 2 world-class centre-backs?
Yeah, but
three.
Brazil had
You don't even have
Dino,
one.
R9, what's his name? Rubinho, Adriano, what's it called?
But
France
England we didn't even
Thierry
get
Henry.
that far, like.
Yeah, but England weren't that good compared to other teams, though.
No, but
teams had certified
bro.
like great players. Like England didn't have a player on that caliber or level.
That's debatable, but yeah.
England have never produced a player as good as Zidane or even Thierry Henry.
Yeah, but did Italy produce a player as good as Zidane or Thierry Henry?
And they won it.
England can't even produce a player like a Pirlo, bro. They haven't produced a midfielder as good as a Pirlo. They haven't produced a player as good as a Totti, bro.
Well, you wait. I don't know. I'll stop you there. I don't know. Wait, so maybe it's because of they're foreign and Italian. It makes them look more fancy. But you're honestly saying that Pirlo was above Lampard?
Bro, Pirlo's a better player than Lampard and Gerrard. What are you talking about? Andrea Pirlo.
No one's offended at the suggestion.
Bro, I'll be real.
I don't think
it's like that. I'll be real.
Pirlo is twice the player of those two. What?
I don't think twice the player. Come on, bro.
Bro.
Let's if his name was Andy P. If his name was Andy P, would you be saying
Andy
P? Come on,
bro.
Yeah.
No.
Come on now.
Not on that level, bro.
Josh.
Pello is not better than Gerrard. I'm sorry.
Exactly. Thank you, man. I don't even think he's better than Lampard. I put Lampard.
You can say anyone else, and I'll say cool. But man, Gerrard was different breed, man.
I don't think he remembers who Stevie G is. I don't think Frankie Lampard.
Bro, I remember. They're great players, man, but they're not on Pirlo's level.
Even if Pello is better, it's not as crazy. Yeah, it's not as crazy as like.
Bro, Pirlo's on the same level of a midfielder as a Modric. That's how good he was.
No, he's not. He's not.
Yes, he is.
Nah, I don't know about that.
No, he's not.
I don't know about that.
Nah, Pirlo's
not on that table. Let's be real. There's the
Pirlo's not as good as Iniesta and Modric.
Pele is not as good.
Bro,
as him.
Josh,
Wow.
bro, what?
Wow.
Let me
You're
tell you.
mentioning Polo in the same
Let me tell you.
conversation.
This is to me. This is like the ranking. So up here you have Zinedine Zidane.
Zidane.
Below that you have Modric, Iniesta, this thing, and then below
Xavi.
that you have Pirlo, Gerrard. You know, that's
Xavi.
Yeah,
that's where it is for me. Yeah.
disrespectful. Because Pirlo's better than Xavi. Pirlo's better than Xavi. I would say Iniesta's better than Pirlo, but Pirlo's better than Xavi.
Well, Iniesta is better than Xavi. I think Xavi is at the same level as Pirlo and Gerrard, in my opinion. Yeah, I think Modric and Iniesta
No,
are,
Gerrard's not on that level.
and I think
Gerrard's
Zinedine
nowhere
Zidane
near
is
that
just
level, bro.
a tier higher.
That's crazy, bro.
In terms of England and like their squad and everything, I don't know really. Like with the squad they have right now, it's actually quite good, but I don't know.
What's our
Like,
England squad? What's the 11 that we're going with?
Well, the 11 that's most likely, or the 11 that we think should be the 11.
We'll do both.
Most likely, probably
Pickford.
Shaw, Maguire, Stones, Trippier, Bellingham. In fact, it's not even a given that Bellingham starts, to be honest.
Phillips and Rice.
I think because of Phillips, there's question marks over his fitness, so I'd say Bellingham, Rice. I don't know whether we'll go with Mount or Foden.
We'll go Mount.
You think we'll go Mount?
He loves a bit of Mason Mount.
I think we'll go Foden.
No,
And then
I think he goes Mount and Foden on the wing.
Okay, fairs. I think Sterling and then probably Foden, Kane. But what it should be is I think Pickford's deserved this place. He deserves the place. I'll say Pickford, Shaw, Maguire, Stones, Trippier probably makes the most sense. In the midfield, Bellingham, Rice. I don't know if Foden's really earned his. I think maybe test out Maddison, see what it's saying.
Yeah, I would have gone the same.
I'd say Maddison. I'd say on the left, Sterling, up front Kane, and then on the right, Saka. That would be my team.
Yep, same.
It's kind of mid, I can't lie, to be fair. We actually say out loud. It's kind of mid. What's England's like? Another thing is like, what's England's like philosophy of football? That's another thing that's like affected them. Like
there is no philosophy.
Like there's really no
just
like.
vibes,
it's just vibes. Yeah, it's just vibes. Yeah, and like
no, but England's philosophy has always been on physicality. You know,
yeah,
intensity, hard work,
and it's that's true. And that's the thing. That's what you get with Phillips and Rice, to be fair, because that's how England beat Croatia in the Euros. Phillips and Rice basically just ran over their midfield.
True.
You man, you know we've made it. You know we're getting all this rubbish. Man, like, come on, we actually made it. What's this? Get the hell out of here with this.
Yes, sustainability is like really hard if you're like just like there's really no philosophy and stuff like that. I don't know.
Yeah, we have many more talking points, to be honest.
When does the World Cup start again?
It starts on Sunday.
I
feel like there'll be plenty of content to talk about, so you guys should probably stay tuned. Stay tapped into the channel. Obviously, the World Cup is a very busy period for us. Very busy period for football fans in general. It's always a magical time, the World Cup. Like, there's so many different memories you can think from your childhood, things happening in the World Cup, and there's many more to come, especially it being the first Winter World Cup and seeing the players in prime conditioning as well. Sure to have a lot of magical moments. But I think that's probably it from us. Does anyone really have anything else to say? So on that note, I'd say, guys, like, comment, and subscribe. We're almost at 100 subscribers, right? So yeah, guys, just keep on pushing the channel forward. And yeah, that's it. See you guys later.
Peace.